everyone, and welcome to DynamicsCon. I know we're really excited to be here. We've got a really fun topic to run through today, but first, I did want to let you know that if you do have any questions along the way, don't hesitate to hit us up in the chat as we go along here. We're also going to have a live Q&A session at the end of our presentation. So today we get the opportunity to talk about extending the reach of your data with embedded apps. So first, we're going to set the stage a little bit. We're going to run through an overview of our agenda for the session. So we're going to kick things off here today with some introductions. So we'll go through a quick intro. We're going to run through a few slides just covering what an embedded app is, why they're helpful, who could benefit from them, and how. And then we're going to let Eric jump in, pop the hood on his demo, and walk us through some fun stuff. So, of course, at the end, we're going to leave some time for some Q&A as well.
All right, I'm going to start off here. My name is Eric Jorgenson. I'm a developer here at Stoneridge for the past 3 years, and we just want to give a big shout out to DynamicsCon for allowing us to do this presentation today. It's going to be a lot of fun. Really enjoy what they're doing.
All right, thanks, Eric. My name is Jesse Bucholz. I'm a pre-sales architect also at Stoneridge Software. I actually live just right down the road from Eric, and I actually came over from the delivery team, so I had an opportunity as a consultant to work on many projects with Eric. So, but today, something I'm definitely very passionate about, especially in that Power Platform and CE space. So embedded apps can be a lot of fun. All right, so we want to kick things off, really just to lay the groundwork. What is an embedded Power App or embedded app? So, and I kind of led into it there. It all starts with Power Apps in the Power Platform. And really, 3 years ago, I remember, there was no opportunity to do something like this, especially not with that low-code, citizen developer focused capability where, Power Apps really comes in, lets us get to work building out, custom business apps that we can then use for mobile or web and without really writing any code. But it also now extends the capability to allowing us to embed it into a lot of different spaces. And we're going to start talking through those here in a little bit. But one example right here that you see on your screen is the ability to go in and embed a Canvas app right into a model-driven app. So for those that are familiar with CE, which I'm going to guess is most of you, we're looking at an account form, in the Sales Hub, for example, and the ability to go in and embed this, relatively simple contacts Canvas app. It's a lot of fun, and you can really extend the platform through this capability. And why are they helpful? So how could this benefit me and my team? And I'm sure you're thinking that, as we're coming through here. And once we really get into the demo, it's going to start to make a lot more sense, especially if you haven't seen these before. But there's a lot of great reasons to consider a embedded app and, better visibility. So seeing more data from one place, less clicks. We're not moving between systems. If we're talking, wanting to see a SharePoint list in a model-driven app, now I don't have to have 2 windows open. I can see everything potentially from one form, which throws more data in front of you, helps drive user adoption, so that your team is not having to navigate between multiple systems all the time.
Yeah, and I mean the Power Platform. I mean, keep in mind that we're using up to, I think even lost count at this point, 500 probably connections. Custom connections that we can connect to all sorts of data sites. You could be on your account form and you could be looking at your inventory from FNO, just to have a real-time inventory. You don't, without leaving the CE environment right there, and just unbelievable amounts of things you can do with the amount. And if you don't have a connection, we can just build a custom connection. So it's really fun and really great to see.
That's true. That's a good point. So, just a few examples when we're talking options around embedded apps. Number one, Canvas app and a model-driven app. You just saw an example, a couple screens ago where we had that contacts Canvas app thrown into a form in a model-driven app. But you can also take a Canvas app and embed it in a web page if you wanted to, or a Canvas app in Teams, which is also something I know I'm excited about. Eric's going to run through here in a little bit. How about Power BI reports? You know, especially if you're using Power BI, you got some really cool reporting capabilities out there. You've built some nice reports or dashboards. Why wouldn't you want to embed that into your dashboard or your forms, you know, in the Sales Hub, for example? In SharePoint, another great example. Or how about in FNO? You know, the ability to embed a Canvas app right in FNO. That's fantastic. So just a few examples here of some different ways that we can leverage this capability. So just a quick plug here. So we've got a consultant on our team, Jeff Spain. Quick shout out there. He actually wrote a great blog around embedding Power BI report, and I took this screen grab from his blog. So perfect example of how you might turn around and embed a Power BI report right into a form in a model-driven app. Another great example is, in this screenshot here, what we're looking at is FNO. So this is a screen grab that I took right off Microsoft Docs site. And basically what you have the capability of doing is going in and building this out yourself. And I actually went in and did this also. And what it allowed me to do, and I'm not a frequent user of FNO. I bare bones know the system. You know, I stick to my customer engagement and Power Platform applications. But the ability to go in and build this out, and what basically we were able to do here is take a tracking number from a shipment and come back and pop open a Canvas app right in FNO and see where our package is at. I thought that was pretty fun and really not too difficult to do. Last example here, Canvas apps and websites. So, you know, when you think about a Canvas app, you know, you probably better think about licensing a little bit because, you know, you're typically geared more towards your own employees. But with a website, if you wanted to embed a Canvas app there, you know, it could be, you know, this is a great example. So an equipment ordering Canvas app where maybe your employees are going in and maybe you got a refresh cycle of 2 years on your laptops or more, and you want to give them a quick, easy place to go in and request a new one. You know, so that might be an example, or HR or something, you know, IT team related. So a lot of great examples of different ways that you might embed a Canvas app in a website also. All right. Well, enough PowerPoint. I think, you know, people probably want to see this thing in action. So, Eric, let's jump in.
All right. So what we're going to do today, is take on our account form that we normally have, and we are going to embed a custom SharePoint app. This custom SharePoint app is going to contain this simple list that I created. So here I created a DynamicsCon SharePoint site. I made this group called Account Docs, and then what I did was added a bunch of different accounts to it that you're going to see. And if I can just get rid of my controls here for that, you're going to see in the accounts are going to match, a lot of the account names are going to match ones that you're going to see in here. You know, you could take a Power BI, or not Power BI, a Power Platform flow, Power Automate, and every time a new account is created, you could just take and throw one of these folders in there to correspond with it. And next we're going to go here and let's take a look at the actual form itself. So in here, what we would want to do is we're going to want to probably throw that Canvas app right inside of here. We want to put that SharePoint connection right inside of this assistant, because nobody.
So you're saying you don't use the assistant? That what you're trying to tell me?
No, I've never used the assistant.
What? Come on now.
I don't even know what the assistant is actually used for. So we're here. I'm going to go ahead and jump into my tables, and I probably should have had that all queued up for you guys beforehand, so apologize for that. But
And just to clarify, we're going to embed a Canvas app in a model-driven app form. That looks like that's the direction we're going here?
yep, exactly. So we're going to go into our main account form. That's the one that you saw right in here. And what we want to do is we're going to embed a nice Canvas app right inside of here. While that loads, let's take a look at that Canvas app, shall we?
All right.
So thanks to probably videos that you've seen from a fantastic guy, Shane Young. He helped, I followed his video and I built myself a SharePoint app that basically does the same thing that you just saw. Here's all the files and folders and everything concerned with that app. So you're going to notice a couple things. First things first, let's take a look over here at the data sources. First thing we have here is our SharePoint. You'll notice that the SharePoint URL goes all the way to DynamicsCon. So that's the site we're referencing up here. And if you guys already know all this good stuff, sorry you have to be bored, but I'm excited just to show you more stuff. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to want to add on to that particular site or that particular deal there and click on. So once the app starts, we made this variable called path. Now this path is going to just be thrown on to the end of that SharePoint site that we just saw. So it's just going to go SharePoint DynamicsCon / account docs, and that's going to take you right to that page. That's what we see right here. This path is used throughout the app. And I know this isn't a class on Canvas apps, but I think it's fun to kind of see what's under the hood a little bit too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we want to show that, and this path, like I said, is used to attach documents, which is going to be our next little peek here. Right here is a new and improved control called attachment control upload, which I've never really used up until this point. So what this control is going to do is going to allow us to bring up anything off our computer, reports, images, whatever, and put it into the particular folders that we need to do. So if we take kind of a look at that, there's a lot of properties in there. The add file, and I'm not going to kind of go through this whole meat of this whole thing here, but basically what's happening is when you go to attach a file, it's going to set that spinner off so people know that it's kind of moving around. It's then going to set a few parameters here and variables for the JSON image and some of this other data all the way into this base 64 data source. Really all that is in kind of layman's terms is it's just the meat of the file. So it's just a big long string of just stuff that kind of gets put into that file. And then what we end up doing is we're going to end up this easy folder or easy upload folder flow that we created. And you can see when we run that, it's going to pass in 3 parameters. It's going to give us the create file name, the create file content, that's that base 64 variable, and then that fun little path that we created, that documents path. So that's what's happening right there. And if we take a quick look one more time over at the easy upload folder, Power Automate, and really why I'm showing you guys all this is because you can just really kind of see all the things in action. You can see Power Platform, you can see Canvas apps, you can see the custom connectors, you can see all those and model-driven apps all working together to make one solution. So first things first is it just gets that trigger from the Power Apps. This variable actually isn't used, so I don't know why I still have it in there. But and then those three parameters that you saw before, the folder path, so that's where that docs goes. So here's the string, here's the URL for the site address. We go into the folder path. We throw the name of the file that's already there, and then that base 64 meat of the files. And then it just returns something right back to the Power App.
That's awesome.
So
I just want to comment too and say I love how you actually brought the SharePoint Green into your Power App here. Because this isn't out of SharePoint. This isn't something you just grabbed from SharePoint, right? I mean, you made this, you updated this.
right, yeah. All I did was went and got some hex colors from the SharePoint document site and try to make it a little prettier and put the logo behind just so you can see how pretty it can look on your form.
Love it.
Speaking of forms, let's add this bad boy in there.
I love that
So
you're going into the Maker portal and you're not just going right into the classic Power
right,
Apps tool.
yeah, I will go into Classic just to show a couple differences, but first things first, this is where I want that custom Canvas app here, and
That's
this
where
is
our
that.
assistant was.
Yeah, so this is that assistant. Let's just get rid of that. We don't need it. It's not going to do us any good. So now we have a blank section. The next thing is, and this is kind of important, is that you need two things. You need a file, or you need a field or a column, and it needs to be required, and it also needs to have a value associated with it. So if it doesn't have a value associated with it, it's not going to load up nicely, or it might not load up at all. So what I've found is you can make your own field. You can make it a Boolean field that has a default value, so you know it's always going to have something in there. It doesn't matter what kind of field. It can be anything that really you want, because we're not using that field. But what I find is helpful here is we know that the account name is a required field, and we know it has to be filled in. So why don't we just duplicate that?
Absolutely. That's a pro tip right there.
So now we have the account name, and I wouldn't worry about it being here. It's going to be invisible at some point here pretty soon. The next thing is there's two ways that you can go ahead and add this Power App into your form. The first way is, and the way that they've really kind of built it up is right here through this UI. And that's the way we're going to first show. And then what I'm going to do is take you through the Classic real quick. So now that you're highlighted here, you have your account name, just go ahead, go down to Component, and you're going to have the nice little pop-up here, and let's just click on Canvas App. My screen's a little blown up, so you can't see the top portion over here, but what that's saying is this is your entity name or your table name. For here, it really doesn't quite matter what it's going to be, but since we're on the account form, we're just going to say account. So we're going to pull from the account. We want to kind of attach the account table. The app name, let's go ahead and take a look. We'll go back one step here. We're back in the Canvas app, and our app is called Document Library. We're going to copy and paste that in there. And then finally is our app ID. So our app ID, if you don't know where to find that, go ahead and click on this ellipsis here, go to Details, and you're going to see all sorts of fun stuff associated to it, but also this nice little nugget here called app ID. We'll go copy that and paste that right in. And one thing that we want to make sure is that embedded apps you can't surface them on a mobile or tablet. So we're just going to make sure it's just going on the web, the desktop form. Mobile or tablet is not going to work.
That's good to know.
All you need to do at this point is just press done, and hopefully some magic takes place. You can see something's trying to work, and there it is.
That's fantastic. I love that you can see, in the Maker portal, you can actually see your app in action right from the preview, the form designer.
Right. And let's just move this down a little bit here. You'll notice also that we have the nice account name sitting there. Well, we can get rid of that quick, just hide that label. Now we've filled out our space.
Nice.
And we're going to publish, which I was told by Jesse earlier, that's save and publish.
That's right, all in one shot.
All in one shot, and I did not know that, so.
So you're just sharing knowledge here. You're teaching me how to embed a Canvas app in a model-driven form, and I told you one little thing.
Well, while we're waiting for that to publish, let's go ahead and look at the classic way to do this. So we're going to go to switch to classic. The reasons why you may still want to do this, let's say you don't have an app. You don't have an existing app. You want to create your own app from scratch. And you can do that right from the classic form. I can't seem to figure out, we can't make that work in the new modern UI look yet, but here you're still able to do that. And I'm sorry it takes a little bit longer to load, but it is a demo organization, so.
Those are just, that's the rule. When you're doing a demo, that's what happens.
Yeah.
At least
so let's remind everyone that the chat is open. So if you want your Q&A here, we have 10 minutes at the end of this video. So start asking questions, and we'll try to answer those there at the end.
What do we want to? Can we bounce into the model-driven app once? See if it's published.
Sure. My little.
While we're waiting for the spinning wheel of death.
Yeah, here we go. So let's take a look here. Oh, got my Zoom background. Hard to get to my. All right, let's take a look here, and let's do a fun reset of this whole thing. Sometimes it takes a couple refreshes to work.
Seems like twice is the magic number. Anytime I'm publishing.
Oh, I think we got.
I'm excited to see this.
And we have that same corporation. There it is.
Oh, there we go. Looks beautiful.
Now, if I go back here to the account form, all right. So one thing that we're going to do, and I'm just going to use this form. I'm not going to save anything since this is already in use here. We're going to double click this field. And so it's going to be the same kind of process that we did in the other one. It's going to be the same. If you have an app that you are using, you just need that user or that app ID, that name, and everything like that. So now we have this popped up. Let's go over to controls. So we're going to go to controls, and just like the other one, we're going to add a control. This control, oh, passed it. New mouse. Canvas app. We're going to add that Canvas app, and just like before, let's just make it for the web. And you'll see the same thing. Like I said, we have the account, that's the entity name. That's filled in automatically. The app name, we could fill that in just like we did before, right here, and then the app ID the same way. But what's different in the classic form is you can actually just go to this customize button, and that's going to take you to a new screen, and it's going to pull up the Maker portal for Canvas apps, just right out of the box, and gives it a couple seconds here to load up some of the stuff that it needs to do, making a new app.
So really we have two ways of jumping in and making this happen. We can still do it in the classic configuration tool, but we can also do it in the maker portal you're saying. So we've got a couple options.
You have a couple options when it comes to that. And here you go. It's already added a gallery for it. We have the data source is accounts, just like we labeled, and it actually has some data kind of in there here. We have a random account name just to get started. Once you save and publish this, what's going to end up happening is it's going to pop back over here, and the app name and the app ID are going to be filled in automatically, so you don't have to worry about it. But that's not what we're going to do. So now that we are set, we have this in here. I think it needs to be customized just a little bit more. Maybe if you're in this particular account, you're not going to want to see all of the other accounts associated with, or maybe your company doesn't want to see all the other accounts associated with it. So let's customize that just a little bit. If we go back into the editor here for our app, when you embed an app, it adds a new control called model-driven form integration. Very long word, all to mean basically it is that connection from your model-driven app to your Canvas app. It has contextual data that's going to kind of tie those both together. And here it is right here. First time I ever saw this, I'm like, what is this thing? So first thing you want to do when you have this is you want to add that data source. So we want to put into that data source, we want to put in accounts. And there's a big scary red line right there. Name is invalid. Oh. So what's happening here is we need to add that data source because this is an app that wasn't built off accounts. Well,
right.
Easy enough. Go into our data sources. We're going to find our Dataverse here, and right at the top there's accounts. Click on that. And you're going to be good to go. Now let's throw in accounts. And it made it blue, which is good.
Beautiful.
And you can see already it's loaded up data from the accounts record. You can see some fax numbers in there. This is dummy data, so don't go faxing these people anything.
Do you have a fax machine?
No. And then the only other property that is in this model-driven form integration is called the data on data refresh. We're going to switch that to refresh accounts. We just want the accounts to be refreshed when the data needs to be refreshed. Those are the only two properties we need to concern ourselves about, so we're good to go. Now let's go back. Now let's kind of expand that. Let's make that URL for SharePoint a little bit more dynamic. Let's make it so the account will pop up the correct folder to the account. By doing that, we're going to go back to our onStart and remember our account docs. Well, let's just add some more to that. And for that, we're going to go text. We're going to pull that model-driven form integration. We got our IntelliSense, which is nice. Hit the period. You have 2 points here. We have data and item. Let's go to item. We want to get an item there. Hit the period again. Now all the fun stuff that's associated with accounts is all right here. You can select. We just want to pull that account name. So let's get that account name is right there. Account name, and then let's close off this string by putting another bracket at the end. So now it's going to be account docs, the name of the corporation or the account, and then close it off with that. So let us let us do one thing, and just a tip when it comes to certain things like this, just to make sure you're getting the data you want. I always like to put a text label in there. That can be removed right away, but when we test out the app, it's really nice to see that variable kind of pop up. So instead of that text, we're just going to put that var path in there just to see what pops up on the other side. Let us save and publish. Publish this version. Okay, now let's go back up here. Actually, move this tab, it's kind of out of the way. Do the magic, Control F5, get that hard refresh, which probably won't take into effect right away. Loads up, loading. Nope, didn't load there. One more time.
One more time for good measure.
One more time.
Are you starting to feel like a Power FX MVP, Eric?
Yeah, I can write a couple. All right, so it's refreshed, and there it is, but there's no data. Great. Well, that's why we threw that down there. What's going on? That path didn't create, so we got account docs slash and then another slash. That whole fun thing that we put in there didn't pop up, and this whole fun thing didn't pop up. Well, luckily, I already knew this was going to happen.
You're saying we've got some planned troubleshooting.
So what I noticed was when I work through this and I try to get it to work, normally with Canvas apps, this on start works great. It really does. It works fantastic. But for whatever reason, I'm not sure how I could fix it. And so I kind of came up with a little workaround to just let the Power App wait a second to load that gallery data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out, and I'm going to add, literally I want to add a second to letting it load. So to do that, we're going to take this timer. So now I have a timer, and I'm going to do it for 1 second, which I believe is 1,000 milliseconds. Then when the timer is done on timer end, I'm going to set that variable. So now it's going to give, whoops, get rid of that false there. So now what we're doing is we're just saying, hey, just wait a second for you to do your stuff. Then we want it to go ahead, and we're going to refresh. After that's done, we're just going to refresh that account docs. And one last little thing on the timer, we're going to go and say we just want it to auto start. We don't want to have to press a button, anything like that. So it's just going to load. Let's go true. And we obviously don't want to look at this big ugly blue thing here, so we're going to go make it invisible. And you know what? One more thing for good measure here. We're going to throw the name of the company up here too. How about that? Let's go text. Model-driven form integration at, oops, not data. Item, account, name, and close that out. There we go. All right, let's save and publish again.
I love the workaround, by the way.
Yeah, that's kind of how you have to do things in this world sometimes. Is doesn't want to work, well, we're gonna make it work. So let's refresh this one more time. Probably two more times, I would imagine.
You got to love the Power Platform and specifically the Power Apps community too. There's just so much great content out there that and people that just that love to share their ideas and tips and tricks. And I can only imagine the amount of content you found valuable out there.
Right, right. And especially, with DynamicsCon has been such a great place to learn and from the people in the community here.
Absolutely.
And boom, there we go. You can see that is now completed down there. We have the photos that we wanted to for this particular file. We can go ahead and maybe look over here. Here's a photo of my 1-year-old. Who's adorable. Here's a photo of me, not so adorable. So we're gonna go ahead and delete that. We can go with that fun attachment button there. Click that attachment, and let's just go into pictures. No, we'll do this. Yeah, that seems great. Put a little guy that says hi in there. We're doing that fun flow business. Boom, there it is. We go over to accounts, and let's try this account here. It's going to pull up this form again, and this is a completely different form, different company. I got a nice pie chart going on, so that's really it.
Well, I do have a question for you though. I'd asked you this earlier, and we were kind of talking through it, but I mean, and anybody that's watching is probably thinking of the hundreds or thousands of ways that they could do or benefit from using this themselves. But I mean, what are the limitations here? You can add one to a form. What more can you do? Can't you do with them?
Right. So you're able to actually add 3 onto a form, and that's what I've done here
Okay.
with this particular. Now, these are just some apps that I found, sample apps from Microsoft, but you are able to take and load them up if you want to. Now the performance is going to get a little dicey the more that you add, but 3 is the maximum per tab, or per form, I should say. And you can see threw some stuff together. We got the same apps all over, and you can really start customizing your way.
Love
And,
it.
be, and before we go, and we're kind of running out of time here, but I wanted to show something fast. So we're going to embed an app into Teams. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's grab, we're going to go and switch environments here. We got this environment. We have this interview tool that was made by Microsoft to work with.
So it's just a Canvas app template.
That you could download. But I want to show you how easy it is, since a lot of people are on Teams now, just like us. I'm going to open up our Teams here, and I'm going to embed that app to this. And this is going to show how quickly you can do it and get working on it right away. So here we have, we're in Teams. I'm just going to create a quick team here from scratch. Public. I'm going to say hiring. This is the hiring channel, or hirings. Is that how I spell it? Or hiring channel. There we go. Creating that team. Nice work. Skip that for now. Let's add a quick channel to that. We're going to add an interview channel.
Oh, we're adding members here.
Whoops. Oh, we're adding. You want to do that. Sorry, guys. We're going to go ahead and add a channel. There we go. Interview channel. Let's just add that quick. Now, after we added that, let's go embed that right in here. So we go back to that app. Here's the interview tool. And you can click a couple different ways. You can click on this here, or you can drop down the ellipses and nice add to teams button right there. Let's click that. Add to teams. It's kind of demo stuff. I don't want to put it on my actual teams.
And just to clarify, I mean, we went through an extra step there because it's a demo environment, but obviously you wouldn't have to create
Right.
a team and a channel for it. If you got an existing one, it's just a matter of clicking a button and dragging it into a team, correct?
Right. So here, this is why I made that team. So now we have the add to a team right here. Click on that add to team. Well, what team you want to do it to? We have the hiring channel. We're going to put it on that interview channel, and we're going to set that up as a tab. And away it goes. There's the interview channel.
I love that. It's amazing how fast and easy that is.
Save that description, and there it is. Now your team can interact with data however they want. Right from there, customize to do specific tasks that they need to do, and work with your data. And with that, we're going to open it up to questions here. Hopefully you guys have been typing those out this whole time. But appreciate everybody showing up and listening to us ramble.
All right, here we go. We got a few minutes, looks like, for some Q&A. Hi, Eric. I think you're on mute right now.
Yeah, so that question that you actually had about toggling, it kind of made me think a little bit about possible ways. I would say there could be ways to do that with maybe a business rule, or a little bit of JavaScript to, if you want to hit that toggle, it reacts somewhere else. It hides a field, and upon hiding that field, it would possibly hide that Canvas app too. I'm not sure. That's a good thing. I'd actually like to try that out. So
yeah, hard to say that you can't do. I mean, anything's possible, right?
Right. Yeah, but I would think it would be pretty straightforward just by hiding that field. So
yeah.
Ooh, where's my green? Great question. I don't have anything green right now.
Love it. Actually, I don't know if I'm any green today either.
Yeah, so and Chad brought up a great question there. Any thoughts on custom pages? And I actually haven't done much with custom pages yet versus a Canvas app. I know that those two worlds are kind of bleeding into each other a little bit. I thought about doing a demonstration on custom pages as well, but it wasn't a true embedded app. But hopefully, as they kind of develop that, it would be a lot more fun to kind of see that play out. But I have not tried it out yet, actually.
Yeah, I've started playing around with those a little bit, but definitely something to look forward to as we continue to build that functionality out. Every time you turn around, there's more capabilities.
Let's see, any more questions here?
I was asking you before. I was, just trying to think through, any good examples of maybe a project that you've worked on, maybe without naming any names, a good use case, something you'd like to share.
Yeah, we had a client one time. They really needed some way to do. It wasn't necessarily interview questions, but it was they were doing these long form question answer type of things, and the form itself on the model driven app was taking forever. So we kind of came up with a Canvas app embedded in there, fancied up, and I was able to bring in the beauty with Canvas apps, I was able to bring in accounts, contacts, and opportunities all into one app right on that form where they could interact, ask questions, and it goes to the different tables. So that was something that for us worked really well. And you're able to then also kind of, I think we had like a scoring system that they had on there depending on the answers that they gave. So you can do calculations right inside of the Canvas app that can be brought up into a field. So it was actually quite successful, and would love to do some more apps like that going forward.
Well, and I'm sure it's a lot more visually pleasing than just using out of the box subgrids as an example. Throwing those on the form. Sure, you can do that if that's all you're pulling data from. But throwing that Canvas app in there, adding a theme or different images to it, and really just dressing it up however you want is going to be a lot nicer for that end user, right? Because you can build it out however you want to.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Sorry, I was kind of taking a peek here. I think we only have a couple minutes left, and I don't have some other questions here. How does licensing work? Isn't that the question that everyone has? And I'm really not a licensing expert when it comes to like the custom, or, the connectors involved with that. I know there are some premium connectors versus other ones, and to be honest, I don't know until it kind of gets to that point. So it's hard for me can't give a good answer on that one, to be honest with you. But
yeah, licensing can be tough to address, and I don't know if there's any one person out there that is a true licensing guru when it comes to everything Power Platform, because things change quite a bit. But I would certainly refer anyone into Microsoft Docs page, or just a quick search for Power Platform licensing will probably give you the answers that you need there.
Time to wrap it up. So thanks guys for everything here. Hope you enjoyed the rest of the day and have a happy St. Patrick's Day, and thank you, DynamicsCon.
Thanks, everyone.